Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to Gamerjoob, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So in today's video, the character we're looking into is Pianosaurus. So we'll go into this character's backstory, gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff as well. But before we do any of that, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe to Gamerjoob as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. Also, as always, just a small disclaimer, this is not exactly what will happen in Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. This is just a story and concept we've created, so keep that in mind and enjoy the video. But alrighty, with that all out of the way, let's get into the character concept for Pianosaurus. So previously in our Poppy Playtime character concept series, we took a look at what could possibly happen with the main antagonist, Yarnaby. The player found themselves in the underground facility known as Security Play. This is the main area that controls all the security throughout the Playtime Co-Factory. And at the center of this whole operation is the Watchful Eye. This mysterious eye has been watching our main protagonist as they explore this underground area. With this new intruder in the facility, the Watchful Eye unleashed Yarnaby on the player. The player desperately tried to get away from the deadly jaws of Yarnaby, and in the end they managed to make it through the blast doors and get away safely. Right before those heavy doors sealed shut, Yarnaby reached his head inside to grab the player. But at the last second, the doors closed and completely cut Yarnaby's head straight off his body. Now that the player is safe, they continue to make their way through this deep dark facility, but they won't be safe for very much longer. The Watchful Eye has many more plans in store for the player, and another dangerous foe will be lurking in the shadows. So now let's introduce the next toy character, and this character is known as Pianosaurus. This colourful character is a musical maestro. His bright green body is filled with colourful spikes and horns, and his underbelly and teeth are also made from piano keys. Each tooth can be played just like an actual piano keyboard. When Pianosaurus first released, he proved to be quite the popular toy. The sales were looking steady and Playtime Co had another successful toy on their hands. But as the time went on, customers were complaining about a strange sound emitting from his internal speaker. Due to this, multiple Pianosaurus toys were recalled. Eventually, everyone forgot about poor Pianosaurus. The company disposed of all the defective toys as soon as they could. Now, there was only one that remained. And seeing all of his toy counterparts destroyed like this made him resentful of all the workers. Now, this lone Pianosaurus lurks deep underground near the Security Play headquarters. If anyone dared get too close to him, it would be the last thing they ever do. It seems that the Watchful Eye and the prototype have corrupted Pianosaurus, and now he's a shadow of his friendly former self. His original eyes broke off, revealing two hollow, empty sockets. And those playful piano keys turned into deadly sharp teeth. Sooner or later, he'll be putting them to good use, and the player will have to do their best to avoid being chomped. Speaking of the player, we now return to their current location. They've made their way through the Security Play facility and now find themselves in a new area. They're still surrounded by concrete and cave structures, but this area feels a little different. All around them are discarded toys. A lot of them have been torn to shreds. All over the walls are large claw marks. Whatever did this has to be quite the large creature. Eventually they come across a strange looking door. This door is locked with a special piano key mechanism. It seems that the player has to play a certain song in order to unlock it, so they just need to search around this area in order to find it. All of a sudden, something smashes straight through the wall. As the dust settles, they can see that it's Pianosaurus. He lets out a large roar and then charges towards the player. The player makes a run for it to get away from this monstrous toy creature. Well, at least they won't need to solve this puzzle door anymore. They simply just need to get back to the opening in the wall and get out of here. Eventually the player finds a place to hide. They can see Pianosaurus looking for them in the distance. He's hunting them down and won't stop until he's gotten his prey. Luckily for the player, Pianosaurus is blind. Without his original eyes, his movement is solely based on sound. As the player hides behind a crate, they notice something inside it. It looks like there's still a few spare parts left from the old Pianosaurus toys. It was only the heads, but they could still play music. This could definitely come in handy when trying to sneak back to the doorway. So in this gameplay segment, the player would need to carefully sneak forward and avoid Pianosaurus. If they make any noise, he'll rush straight over to their position and devour them. But luckily the player can use these toy parts to create a distraction. Whenever Pianosaurus gets too close to them, they'll need to throw the toy head in the other direction. The sound it makes will lure him over there and give the player a moment to get away. But throughout this sneaking section, Pianosaurus can get very close to the player. In some instances, they can be face to face. He won't know the player is there as long as they keep perfectly still and quiet. Eventually, after sneaking through this area, they finally reach the doorway. They walk through and quickly head towards the end of the hallway. If they can make it through this door, then they should be safe from Pianosaurus. But as they run through the corridor, the alarm starts to sound. The watchful eye must have set the alarm to lure over Pianosaurus. And sure enough, a few seconds later, he was at their position. He rushes straight towards the player, but they've already locked themselves in a secure room at the end of the corridor. The only thing that separates Pianosaurus from the player is a large sheet of ballistic glass. It won't hold for very long and he starts to charge into the glass. The player needs to come up with a plan and quickly. While searching around this room, they see something written on the wall. It's a sequence of piano notes. It reads, "Press the keys to reset." This must have been a special sequence you could have played on the old Pianosaurus toys to give them a hard reset. This was probably to fix the faulty speakers. Maybe this sequence could work on the real Pianosaurus. Well, there was only one way to find out. Eventually the glass gives way and Pianosaurus smashes his head into the room. The player needs to dodge his attacks and also press his teeth in the correct order. One by one they manage to press the teeth. They dodge the last attack and press the final tooth. Pianosaurus suddenly stands perfectly still. He lets out a little tune and then his body shuts down. It looks like the player's plan has worked. While the player has the time, they make their exit, because who knows when he'll wake up once again, and the player definitely doesn't want to be around when that happens. So I think that Pianosaurus is going to be an interesting character to see in Chapter 4. It's not known yet if he'll be the main villain or just a side antagonist. For all we know, he could be a friendly character. But due to the tone of the later chapters, this doesn't look very likely. But we won't know until Chapter 4 releases, and until then, we'll just have to wait and see. Alrighty everyone, that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing, as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, do be sure to comment down below what you thought of Pianosaurus and what you'd like to see going forward. Also, be sure to comment down all your theories and what you think is going to happen in Chapter 4 as well. And lastly, I'd just like to thank you all for watching, and also a very big thank you to our Gamerjoob members as well. But alrighty everyone, until our next Poppy Playtime character concept video, I'll catch you later. Bye.